Here's something I can't stop noticing. Now that I've seen it, almost everything in the lawn world is quietly built to make you feel like you're not doing enough. Every ad, every shelf at the store, every glossy bag, the whole message underneath it all is the same. You need this, and probably this too. Your lawn is a problem. The only way to fix it is to keep spending. I notice it everywhere now, and I want to talk about it because pushing back on that idea is honestly the thing that I care about most. So let me introduce myself first, since I'm not the usual voice around here. I'm Connor. I'm the one behind the scenes on this channel. I do the filming, I do the cutting, I do the planning, I do all of it. You don't usually see me, but this is the one topic where I couldn't stay quiet in the background. So here I am. Here's what I believe deep down. A good lawn was never about money. It never was. It's about understanding. And these two are completely different things. And the whole industry would really prefer that you never figure that out. Here's the truth that I've landed on after years of this. The real secret to a good lawn isn't in any bottle. It's under your feet. It's the soil. You feed the soil. You understand the soil, you take care of the living world down in that dirt, and almost everything else sorts itself out. The grass gets healthy on its own. The weeds have a harder time. You stop firefighting one problem after another because you fixed the thing underneath that was causing all of them. And the soil, real living soil, is basically free to improve. It just takes attention and time instead of money. And I'll tell you what really got me, once I started paying attention to it. That soil under your grass isn't just dirt. It's alive. It's absolutely full of tiny living things all working away down there, breaking things down, feeding the roots, doing for free the exact jobs that those expensive bottles claim to do. When you dump a bunch of harsh product on it, chasing a quick fix, half the time you're actually harming the whole hidden operation, killing off the very thing that was on your side in the first place. Whereas when you feed it a bit of compost, some patience, letting it do its work, it rewards you. There's a whole living world down there. You know, they're quietly on your team, and almost nobody talks about it because you can't put it in a bag and sell it. I find that genuinely wonderful the more that I've learned about it. I'll be honest. When that finally clicked for me, it changed everything. For years, I did it the other way, chased quick fixes, bought the product that promised to solve this week's crisis, and bought another one next week for the next crisis. And I was always spending and never really getting anywhere. It wasn't until I stopped looking at the grass and started looking at the dirt that things actually turned around. And it cost me less, not more. That still feels like a small miracle to me. But I'd be lying if I told you it was only about saving money. There's something deeper in it for me, and it's about self-reliance. There's a real quiet dignity in not needing to buy a solution for every single problem that comes up. Being able to look at your own yard, understand what's actually going on, and fix it with what you've got and what you know. That feeling, I can handle this myself, I don't think you can put a price on that. It's the kind of confidence that quietly spills over into the rest of your life too. We've kind of had it trained out of us that this idea that we're capable of solving our own problems. I want to hand a little bit of that back to people. And that leads me to who I really do this for, because it matters to me a lot. I think about the person on a tight budget who looks at their sad, weedy yard and feels a little ashamed of it, and then walks into a store and sees what a bag of the fancy stuff costs and just quietly gives up. Decides a nice lawn isn't for people like them. And that breaks my heart a little, honestly, because it's not true. Never was true. You are not locked out of having a yard that you're proud of just because your budget's tight. Knowing doesn't cost anything. Your own two hands don't cost anything. And that's the whole game. I came by this honestly. I should say I didn't grow up with money. We made do with what we had. And I watched, the people who raised me fix things and stretch things and figure things out instead of buying their way past every problem. Because buying your way past it wasn't an option. I remember watching them coax life out of a little vegetable patch with nothing but kitchen scraps and effort. And it feeding us then all summer. Nobody bought a single fancy thing to make that happen. They just knew how, and they were willing to do the work. That stuck with me. Harder than I realized at the time. That's just baked into me now, too. Waste bothers me. Being sold something I don't need bothers me. And doing a thing myself cheaply with a little know how is one of the most satisfying feelings that I've got. So when I sit down to plan what goes on this channel, that's the whole spirit that I'm chasing. Not trying to sell you anything, I'm trying to give you back the confidence that you can do this yourself without a garage full of expensive bottles that you resent buying. I want you to look at your soil, not the store itself. I want you to feel capable because in the end, that's worth more than the lawn, even. So, you know, sure, you get a nice yard out of it, but you also get a little more self reliant, a little more patient, and a little less at the mercy of anybody trying to convince you that you're not enough without their product. And that's a good way to be a lot more than grass. That's why I care about the cheap way, the slow way, the slow way, the buy hard way. Not because I'm cheap, because it's honest and it puts a good lawn back within reach of anybody willing to learn. So don't let anybody convince you that you need to spend a boatload of money to get it right. You really, truly don't.